Welcome to a world of thrills, a world of drama, of capes and tights, a world where death is a revolving door. Welcome to the Geek Matrix.
I don't like it. No, no. That's my first time seeing that. That's terrifying.
You don't like Jimmy?
The only Jimmy I like is R-Truth's buddy. Okay, that's it. Welcome to the Geek Matrix DC Comics Review Show, episode number 191. If I remember
Correct,
correctly,
sir.
yes. Ooh, okay, I got this.
The updated legacy week 4,539.
Hell yeah. Is that the first week we've been playing that video?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, I was going to say that's brand new to me.
I made it a while ago.
Oh shit!
But
don't be alarmed. Don't turn that dial.
Yes.
Jimmy
the scary
is
man
only-
is not real. He will not come for you.
He's only in your dreams.
He's our gremlin, the ghost in the machine, and responsible for any posts on X that are ignorant.
Why do you have to say gremlin?
What's that?
Why do you have to say gremlin?
Oh, why not?
He's our gremlin. He's our boogeyman. He's our John Wick. Okay. Jimmy can't hurt me. Okay.
Just in the spirit.
Ah. Shit.
Comics.
Okay, so we are here to talk about the week's releases for DC Comics, and that includes Harley Quinn number 38, Alan Scott the Green Lantern number 5, and The Flash number 7, as well as some honorable mentions, as well as 2 extra books we will find on the bonus show we'll be talking about there. So be sure to check that out. Subscribe to our Discord for access to that and more, including chatting with us. I would honestly say damn near 24/7 because we're all in different time zones. We all have different sleep schedules. Thank you all to
I feel like our Discord is silent between the hours of, let's say, well, with Isaiah, hell, between the hours of 2 and 5 a.m.
Yeah. Because like Isaiah will finally go to bed, and then 3 hours later, I'll be getting up for work sending memes. Yeah. So it's like a 7-Eleven, but for fun.
There you go.
Yeah. No diseased hot dogs. So there's that. Yeah. We're one up. Yes. So I guess we can skip intros. Josh and Brandon are here. Yay.
Hello.
Howdy.
We've already been talking for a few minutes. It seems kind of moot point to say you guys are here because you already know I'm sick, so my voice is a little gravelly. Excuse me. I'll be doing that a lot today. But what's going on, guys? Anything new? What's in the news?
For me, first, because Rob already asked me, and just to tease Brandon a little bit, Ultimate Spider-Man is freaking fantastic.
Oh god,
like
I'm leaving
at this point. I'm going. He's getting up and leaving.
No, the
best
part is he gets up and leaves, but his headphones are still in his ears.
There you go. It's for the visual impact. But look, seriously, Ultimate Spider-Man really is freaking fantastic, and I think Hickman is some kind of comic book writing deity at this point.
Well, he is writing a book called Gods.
Well, there you go.
Someone laugh.
Well, if that don't line up.
Yeah.
Now here's something I was thinking about, especially reading the issue. I think yesterday I read it. When we first showed it to Josh, he was like, I mean, it was good. It was nothing special. It just felt like Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
The first issue, it was like, this could be interesting, you know.
But like I was thinking about that, and like the difference here, at least that I could see right away, because I was also getting that feeling in issue 3. Like, okay, I don't really see anything like spectacular about this, but it is really fucking good, and it feels like a Spider-Man book should. Like, okay, well, this is like everybody's loving it because what do we have to compare it to?
Well,
Complete dog shit. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good, but it is also just this is what Spider-Man should be. There's nothing stand out about it. It's just
other than, I mean, it's
this is a real
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
learning to be Spider-Man as an adult,
Yeah.
running into all these different Spider-Man
it's-
people
it's
as
a
an
new
adult for the first
angle.
time.
Yeah.
Definitely a new angle, but there's nothing to really like if you need to just sell somebody on the book, there's nothing you could pinpoint and say like, okay, well, this exciting thing happened first.
It's like if I did that, I would say, well, this is a book where the universe got changed, long story short, and we're looking at an adult Peter Parker learning how to be, getting his powers and learning how to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
After getting
that's
his
your
shit
hook,
together.
basically.
He's married to Mary Jane, he's got kids, he's got a job.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he did it responsibly this time, you know. He balanced everything out, made all the duck. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I really do enjoy it. And again, I haven't been reading Ewing's Spider-Man or anybody else's shit.
I
in a
wish it
while.
was Al Ewing's Spider-Man.
Or
but
not
Yeah.
Ewing. Jesus Christ. I don't
Zeb
know why I
Wells.
said that.
I was
Al
like,
Ewing.
what world are you living in, and how do I get
I haven't read a Spider-Man in quite some time, but so I don't have anything to compare it to at all. But I do know that Spider-Man's stories have been, let's say, average or less for years. So for me, this is just awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, well, it's in the advertisements the whole time in every book, but Bad Dream, it's a young adult book coming out in April. It is the origin story for Dreamer. I'm loving that. I know Rob is too.
Oh yeah.
Also, wait,
have a tiny control.
It's a minor point, but just something I learned today.
Yeah.
But the writer of beloved hit series Amazing Spider-Man is, of course, Zeb Wells. But did you know Zeb Wells was, at least as of 2023, but is no longer, was married to SNL actress Heidi Gardner?
Oh, no shit.
I
Really?
saw that, and I literally dropped my phone. Not actually. It was so shocking, but I got like a New York Times article that was like, you know, Heidi Gardner talks about her divorce from husband Zeb Wells, and I was like, what?
Right?
What the fuck? It
That's
just seems
crazy,
so
man.
bizarre.
So this is why he split Peter and MJ up. He's heartbroken.
There you go.
Oh, that dick.
Fuck,
I guess
get it.
art reflects
Right, what
real
you
life,
know.
as they say.
Yeah.
If I can't be happy, nobody can.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. Just weird fact that I learned today.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks though, actually.
Mm.
I hate the guy who's writing right now, but I do feel for somebody that.
I mean,
goes
I'm not
through
happy he's getting well, I guess he's divorced at this point, but
yeah.
Well,
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dreamer, man. Before I go on, I just want to say that the fact we're getting an origin for Dreamer's cool as shit. It's still the creator that is continuing to write it. It's a YA book. It's not going to be too childish. It's going to be good. But on the cover, it brings attention to the fact that it's the first trans person on TV, and I feel like bait people. You know what I mean? Like, let people get in there and find it out organically, naturally, after they've already started to dig the character, and let it go from there. I want it to sell good, and I don't want anybody alienated or pushed off of it right off the bat.
I get that.
yeah, I don't know. I understand putting it in the promotion because it is important to, you know, have that representation be public. But if people are gonna, you know, get mad about it on a post on X or YouTube video, that's their problem. at this point.
I just hope it doesn't affect the sales. That's all I give a shit about.
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah,
people
well,
on X.
I mean, the people who are gonna complain about it aren't even gonna buy it anyway. So
Yeah.
let them
That's-
work it out of their system.
You know what? As much as those people have bitched about the Flash and Supergirl, you're probably right. They already know who Dreamer is anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Strike the comment from the record.
And they've been boasting about the fact that Dreamer is the first trans superhero on TV since her debut. So I don't see them stopping anytime soon. Putting on the cover of the book just seems run of the mill at this point.
Mm.
Yeah, you're
And
probably right.
in their defense, it's honestly a huge moment.
I mean, that ain't no bullshit.
Yeah.
And I know I'm excited to read it. That's for sure. Dreamer is such an interesting character with her power set, and I want to see more done with her outside of Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any news or anything?
Not really.
Well, I have some Spider-Man news, not relevant Spider-Man
Ooh.
news, but this is more just a little. I get to do a little bit of bragging because it's the only time I ever get to do that. I took a little trip to my used bookstore as I'm wont to do, and to my surprise, they had not one, not two, but 5 of the volumes of Spider-Man 2099 Classic, which is a series I'd never read, but I thought was awesome. So I just got the
Yep.
first 2, and I was like, okay, I'll give them a shot, and we'll see if it's any good, and if it is, then I'll try and see if I can get the rest, and if they're not gone, if some bastard takes them before. But yeah, no, it's a pretty cool find, at least. Like I've never gotten to read the series, but I've heard good things about it. So
I mean, it's been 30 something years, near there anyway.
Mhm.
Came out in 92, but I know when it came out, I could not get enough of it.
Right on.
Yeah,
I guess I could also call that something Spider-Man related.
Mhm.
I went to the LCS last week, and just on a whim, I picked up this Spectacular
Ooh.
Spider-Man.
I have not read that, but it looked really fun.
It is a lot of fun. Peter and Miles together in a
Yeah.
team-up book, and it's exactly what you'd expect. It's written by Greg Weisman, art
Mhm.
from Humberto Ramos, and Ramos just runs away with it as usual.
Of course.
So, yeah. Solid
awesome.
read. It's a lot of fun, and it's just those two having fun.
Excellent.
Weirdly enough, that was a book I hoped would have come out like 4 or 5 years ago, but not from Greg Weisman. Actually from Tom Taylor and Saladin Ahmed. Because
Oh yeah.
it's like it's the weirdest thing to still have in my mind after all these years. But they did a free comic book day story. I think in 2018. It was like right as the Miles Morales Spider-Man series was starting, and then Tom Taylor was obviously doing Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and they just kind of teamed up for this short little story, and I was like, that was great. I wish they'd write a book, and then it never happened, and I was like, well, that sucks. But hey, this is close enough, so I definitely want to check it out.
It's worth a check out.
Mhm.
It very
Right
much
on.
is. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess past the news, and we'll move on to honorable mentions.
May as well.
Got a few of them. Primer number 1, Amazon's Attack number 6, Batman Dark Age number 1, Power Girl number 7, The Penguin number 8, and Batman the Brave and the Bold number 11. I'll get to those in the bonus show though, and you're gonna want me to,
I hope so.
Nice.
dear listeners.
All right, so now we are going to jump into our main reviews for the week, I suppose.
Sounds good to me.
Why do I feel like I'm forgetting something?
Why do you feel like you're forgetting? Oh, I forgot something. I almost started issue 9 on the Fantastic Four. That shit
Oh,
just gets
shit.
better and better with every fucking issue, man.
It
It's so good.
does. Is that the issue in space, or is that might be issue 13 actually? Which one was issue 9?
I'm going back and looking real quick.
I think
I didn't. I
7
almost got to 9.
I think 7 was the anniversary issue, or 8. It was like issue 700 or something like that. I know one of them was an oversized issue.
Oh, there was the I mean, it's
8
not,
wasn't.
Mm.
That's the last one I read.
Mhm.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But there was I don't know if this is what you were thinking of, but there was the thing that I posted the other day. There's like no official news about it yet, but it's just kind of speculation. But an artist, a DC artist who I'm not
Oh,
super
yes.
familiar with, Travis Mercer, I guess has just been posting a lot of art of DC characters with teases of an upcoming book that he'll be working on with none other than our favorite writer at the moment, Mr. Jeremy Adams. And I guess it's just been a
Hell
kind of just a couple of teases of some characters, some of which
All
he's worked on in the past. But I'd say most famously Ira and Jai West, but there's also some sketches of Stephanie Brown, the best Batgirl, of course,
Second best.
says you. And what was his name? Fair Play and Quiz Kid.
Yeah, no, you called that exactly. It is Mr. Terrific Son, because I'm just seeing another
Yes.
post by him of the character study.
And I
Yeah,
guess we're
yeah.
going with Fair Play being Mr. Terrific's kid.
Well,
Yeah.
that was the name they used in Jay Garrick the Flash. So I was
that's
just kind of
right.
going off of that.
I completely slipped my mind.
Yeah, so Fair Play and Quiz Kid
Mhm.
as a team.
I'm down.
But yeah, no, nothing official yet. Just kind of teases. Again, with the main tease being that this is going to be a new book from Jeremy Adams and Travis Mercer. Personally, I'm hoping for a Young Justice revival. This seems like it would be right up the alley of Young Justice, but could be something.
Hell yes. Something like Young Justice, I'm completely down for. And I can't wait to pick his brain, because if I understand correctly, he's going to be on the show somewhere around May. So I'm happy about that.
Oh, Jeremy?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been able to contact him yet. He said like later on.
Yeah, when I talked to him, he said after, what was it, Flash Gordon, and I don't even know if they've put out the
Yeah.
official announcent for that yet. At least,
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And like
That was pretty soon.
when
anyway.
when I was talking to him as well, what he told me was after Absolute Power had started,
Yeah.
because he's booked solid.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Absolute Power is not too far away. I think that's where I picked May at.
Oh,
Anyway.
maybe that is, but I think he meant more just like June, July.
All right. June, July.
Yeah.
I guess I can wait that long. All right. Shall we start on the books that aren't by Jeremy Adams?
Yeah,
Do
sadly.
we have to?
Yeah, I'd much rather speculate.
All right. We've laughed it up enough.
Have we?
Agreed. She says so.
You can never laugh enough. That's all I'm saying.
All right. It's Harley Quinn, number 38, brought to us by Josh.
Okay, Harley Quinn 38, written by Teenie Howard. I forgot I wrote the review on this one. Drawn by Natasha Bustos with Nick Filardi colors and Steve Wands on lettering, with the cover coming from Bustos and Filardi as well. It is Harley's birthday, and she wakes up and she has the most normal day ever without mentioning once that it's her birthday, which for any Harley fan, that they know that's just not Harley. So Ivy throws her a surprise birthday party, and afterwards she wants to talk about how people noticed that Harley wasn't her normal birthday self, to which she replied she just wants to stay calm and have a normal day because of all the crazy multiverse stuff that's been going on in her life. Well, Ivy's having none of that, so she takes her out to get into a little trouble by taking out a chocolate factory that is responsible for a whole lot of deforestation. Initially, Harley thinks that they're just going to rob the chocolate factory. But, she's happy with whatever. So that's what they do after Ivy and Harley are talking again. And Harley decides she's going to start tagging along with villains and observing them. She starts a test case with the body doubles and loves it, even though they get into a sticky situation that Harley has to help them out with. She comes home and gushes to Ivy about it before taking Bud and Lou out for a late night piss. And that's when she runs into Mr. Freeze, who says he's found out that she's been teaching lessons and he needs her help to teach some lessons. Obviously, Freeze isn't talking about the same thing, but Harley gets super excited regardless.
Please talk about the backup now. I've been waiting like a week for this.
All right.
Like
well,
the first
that's
time I've ever been super excited to talk about a Harley Quinn story.
very well. That's where the main story ends, and we have the backup with words and art by Brandon Stein, who just used their last names in the credits, so I don't know who they are.
Ted Brandt and Rostein, I think, is their full name.
All right, there you go. The librarian with the assist. It's a quick one with Harley walking past a bank when she gets leveled by Kite Man making a hasty escape. The rest of it is some really crazy Acme-like antics.
It's a Looney Tunes episode.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Yep. She tracks him down and then paints a classic Roadrunner black hole on the side of the police station, to which Wile Kite Man flies right through and gets arrested. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
The main story though, it opens up a whole new can of worms for Harley and her storylines, and also dragging her OG costume out of the closet. And as far as the backup goes, it's a quick one with Harley and Kite Man, and who the fuck doesn't like that little combo? Plus, throw in the fact that it was like reading a Looney Tunes Looney Tunes comic book. I was all in, man. It's a good one. It's a hard 8 out of 10.
There's some bits from that backup that are ripped straight from like the original Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner.
Oh yeah, like the
for
whole
sure.
signs and everything. I was
Yeah.
I was losing
like
my
like
mind.
the fucking wingsuit with the rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the moment where she like realizes she can't fly and is flapping desperately and falls. That's like straight out of what? Yeah, right before they fall.
Like lands on a hole, taps the air. That was so fucking good.
It really
good.
was.
I had a huge grin on my face the entire time.
I was hoping you would, being a fan of the Zoo Crew, because that's like, the closest you get to cartoon characters
Exactly.
in a DC comic.
Oh shit! That reminds me, Zoo Crew. Happy birthday, Rob.
Yeah.
I love how that's what reminded me.
That's your segue.
Captain Carrot. Happy birthday.
By the way, thank you for that card this morning. That was awesome.
No problem.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll be going comic shop hopping on Monday.
All right.
Oh, yes. I need to go to that dank LCS again. I haven't been in over a month. The little hole in the wall that smells like mildew. I need to go there and get a bunch of back
like
issues. Dank ass mildew, not just regular dank.
So here's the thing, though. I know when you first discovered it, you were telling us about it, and you're like, "Yeah, it's got that that mothball and mildew smell. It's perfect." And I know those kind of shops. I avoid those shops. I don't like those shops.
Oh no, those are where you find all the cool
that,
ones.
I just smell disorganization. Like they've got what I'm looking for, but I'm not gonna find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a box labeled A, and there's everything in there but books labeled A.
Oh no, that's not what this is.
That's not what
Absolutely
that
not.
is.
Nope. The dude takes his craft quite seriously.
Fair enough.
Yep. Everything is broke down by publisher, then by series, then by number. Publisher, series, volume, and then number. And
That's good.
Yep. The only real differences are like their dollar bins. Obviously it's not whole runs. So like if you're missing anything from the big part, that's when you got to go hunting in the dollar bin.
Yeah. But it's
But
fun, you know.
I'm
You
down.
feel like you feel like a scavenger.
And you might find
it's like a treasure hunt. Who needs
Yeah.
a
Easter?
gem in the rough or something, right?
Yeah. That's the best feeling when you find
Yeah.
something unexpected in the dollar
Hell
bin.
yeah.
Just catches your eye, like, huh,
Mhm,
I might like this. Yeah.
mhm.
I think you found quite a few of those over the years, haven't you, Brandon?
Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
where it's like you just kind of stumble onto something like, oh, I need this.
Yeah, exactly. Right, but Harley, honestly, a solid issue. It felt like it took a long time to read, like it was longer than it actually is.
Hmm.
And I don't know what that was about. It just this book felt like a time warp. It was the right number of pages, right? It was only 28, 22 pages.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but like it just felt like it kept fucking going. Like every time it felt like I got close to the end. I'm like, oh shit, there's more. Okay, not that was a problem. Like I enjoyed the story. It just felt really big.
It did feel really big, but
Yeah.
I think it's like it's a kickoff to a whole new Harley, or
Yeah.
at least
Or a new arc, I guess.
Yeah, which
new
is quite good.
approach.
I'm really digging this Harley and taking her out of the heroic stuff a little bit. Like I get what they were trying to do with Harley being a hero, but there was just something about it didn't quite fit right. And this kind of riding the fence deal, I think, is perfect for Harley. And I like the fact that Howard
It's where she belongs.
exactly is bringing Harley back into the whole psychiatrist side, which
Yes.
it's not something I think is heavily explored. It's always been accepted as part of our origin, but never really brought back.
Yeah, they were kind of exploring parts of it from what I remember of the previous run from Stephanie Phillips, but I don't know how much they went into it.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
Yeah. I just remember there were a few nods to like, her basically giving psychiatric diagnosis or whatever.
Yeah. I think that was basically it though, not teaching a class on like psycho developments and actually performing case studies on supervillains again. Like that's this is heavily interesting. Now I'm giving this an 8.75 out of 10.
Nice. I was so tempted to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Not even
Yeah.
because the main story was all that great. It was solid, and I think a good way, like Rob said, to just kind of put Harley in a new / oldish place, but I think will be a nice kind of a nice direction after her just being like purely hero mode, that sort of thing, and now kind of being a little bit more on the fence. But I was so tempted to give this one a 9 because I cannot overstate how much I fucking love this backup so much. It is so genius. I feel like I've seen someone do something like this before, but it never really captured like the essence of the Looney Tunes, like Chuck Jones, Wile E. Coyote, this perfectly.
That's
so
all this is, but
it's
done.
like
Mwah.
to a T, and it's so perfect, and it like literally was like watching the cartoon unfold before my eyes, but obviously in comic form. So I'm gonna give it an 8.75, not quite a 9, just because like I don't know, it feels a little unfair, but just know that this issue, pretty much only because of that backup, was almost perfect.
Yeah. Well, dirty little secret before we move on. I read the Looney Tunes comics, and they aren't as good as the backup in here.
Well, probably because like, are they trying to do? I've never read those comics, but I assume like they're trying to do separate stories. It's not just like trying to do what they've already done in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's not bad, but it isn't this. This is Chef's Kiss. Good.
Yeah.
Mwah. Love it.
But I think I mean I'll save it for when we talk about favorite moments. But my favorite just moment of that story has to be the gag with the Nightwing suit.
Oh,
it's so genius. Anyway, that's all I got.
It was good. I'm still fucking laughing about it.
Oh man,
that was great. Yeah. All right, is that Harley?
That's Harley.
That's Harley. And now,
way on the opposite spectrum of Harley.
way off. It's going all the way back to 1942. I think this is in 40, maybe 45. It's Alan Scott, the Green Lantern #5. This is written by Tim Sheridan with art from Kian Tormey. Colors from Matt Herms and Hi-Fi, and letters from Lucas Gattoni, with an amazing cover from David Talaski. So we open up with the FBI getting a call about New York, which we've yet to figure out what that's about, but something seems very amiss, potentially huge danger. And then we jump back to the battle between Vladimir and Alan. Alan, after charging his ring with the Red Lantern energy, is now going a little bit berserk, almost angry, if you will. And he starts yelling all sorts of stuff at Vladimir as Vladimir is trying to keep him down and calm him down and try to get him under control. Going back and forth, they do. Meanwhile, Doiby is listening to the radio as he overhears that Green Lantern is in the skies over Chelsea in a dogfight with an unidentified combatant. So he runs off to go get Alan's lantern. And Alan's lantern begins to speak to him. So he heads out to the rooftop, and the lantern fires a green beam of light, heading straight towards Alan, who at this point in the fight is succumbing to the red energy, who is basically eating at his spirit, and he is slowly, potentially dying because the power is too strong for him. The green light hits him, and he is transported within the lantern, essentially, where he sees Jimmy. But this isn't actually Jimmy. This is the green energy itself, the Emerald Flame, speaking to him through the form of Jimmy, who explains where the Emerald Flame came from, its connections to the Starheart, which is still the same as what it always was. The Guardians of the Universe took magic from the universe, formed it into the heart of a star, and sent it off into space. But what you didn't know is that the energy inside the Starheart grew and evolved, and eventually started to split from the Starheart, including one splinter which dove into loneliness and despair and rage and took on the color red, and that is the red flame excuse me, that the Red Lantern currently uses. So they are very much connected. Then also goes into explain about the spectrum, the emotional spectrum, and its connections to that, and that Alan's power comes from his will. While he is not connected to the Green Lantern Corps specifically, their energies are very much the same.
I thought that was cool shit.
Yeah, it was actually pretty fucking cool. Then leaves Alan with a warning that they are coming. They feast on corruption, the corruption of will on death, and they must be stopped. Whoever they are, we do not know, but there's a bigger battle for Alan coming forward. So he now arises fully powered by the green lights, asks Vladimir to stop as he flies up into the sky. Vladimir follows him, and they look around in the city where there are red beams of light flying into the sky from all around the city. They go down to a street corner where Alan looks at a newspaper, and the headline reads, "A missing Soviet sub washes up in New York City," which Vladimir begins to realize that maybe his people were not telling him the 100% truth, which he already knew, but now he might be being betrayed at the same time. Now a red light begins to attack them as we see a group of red lantern powered people, red light powered people called the Crimson Host, who begin to make quick work of Vladimir and Alan as they are doing their best to hold them off, but it's 2 against 5. But this is when the JSA arrives to help them out. And that's where the issue ends. Solid. fucking solid.
Yeah.
I have yet to see any reviews or online chatter about this issue yet, and I'm honestly apprehensive to fucking do so because
I know.
guaranteed there's going to be people bitching about emotional spectrum this, red light that, and fucking Starheart that thing. Oh my god, I people always complain about the retcons in Alan's life, and I get it. There have been, but you eventually you got to keep up. This is a character that's been around for 80 plus years. Keep them up with the times. That's what you got to do. The stories evolve, the stories change. What you can do, plug stuff in.
Not fucking Yalangor. I'm sorry. I still hate that origin. I know I'm being exactly the person to criticize it right now, but like
Wait, maybe I might
don't
have
like
missed
that one.
What about Yellinger?
Basically, that he was a lantern that had, I guess, come to Earth or something, or was one of the lanterns
centuries ago.
for. Yeah, and they were basically trying to. I forget the exact retcon, but it was something like because he had been terrorizing people of what's that?
They connected him to Starheart somehow.
Well, that was a part of it, but the reason that Alan had his wood impurity was because I think Yalinger was basically terrorizing inhabitants, and the Guardians decided to make his ring susceptible to wood so that he wouldn't brutalize them. And I'm like, okay. All right.
I vaguely remember that. And that's fucking dumb.
Okay, fine.
No, just have it be something to do with magic.
Yeah, and then the other part was that after he died or something, like he merged with his power battery, and then that battery decayed and became the element that would eventually become the lamp, that would become the lantern, that would eventually lead its way to Alan, something like that. It's not a very good issue. Strangely enough, that was one of the first issues of Green Lantern I ever read. So
Jesus, was that in Tales or something?
No, this is the '90s relaunch with that guy. Named.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure I'll come across it at some point.
Yeah.
With that guy.
Yeah.
I'm not giving his name any airtime on this show.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve
it.
Yeah. But yeah, so this issue, I think it's solid. Like we can talk about Alan retcons all the live long day. I'm very apprehensive to ever use the word retcon unless it's completely changing a history. In most cases, I would say what's considered a retcon is more of filling in gaps.
Yeah,
and that's exactly how I actually described this book to a friend earlier this week who hadn't read it yet and was on the fence. I said, like, this does change some stuff, but doesn't really change anything. It fills in gaps we'd never seen before.
Yeah,
pre-train accidents and a few years after the train accident.
Yeah, which is what I've loved about at least this and Sandman, because those are the only two that take place in the past. But it's like, yeah, you have your full canon of stories, but this is just it's kind of adding more into that history.
Exactly, that's all it is. Yeah, it's not really changing anything. It's just showing a new side that we haven't seen.
It's solidifying canonical origins, and I mean, if anybody needs it, Alan Scott only is beaten by the Huntress.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, no, I think this is something that's definitely necessary, whether you like it or not. I think it's something that was needed, and it definitely is welcome.
Yeah,
in most cases, like Alan, like Josh said, his origins a little more solidified, connections to the Green Lantern Corps, Starheart, emotional spectrum, all that jazz. I think it works, and I'm excited to see how this goes on.
Yeah, well, it always seemed to me. Sorry, again, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it seemed to me like the basic essentials of how Alan found the lantern has never been changed. Like that's always been the same. He was always, an engineer working on a railroad, that sort of thing. Discovers the lantern in the crash, or rather, it brings it back to life, and then he discovers it. It just always seemed like the thing that they were, whether you want to say retconning or updating, is up to you. But the thing that they were always kind of changing was his connection, or rather, the Starheart's connection, either to the core or separate from the core.
Yeah.
That always seems to be the thing where they're like, I don't know. What is the Star Heart? What is the Star Heart anyway?
And this with this series, I think that's the only thing they really retconned, as you
Yeah.
described. The lantern is now it was given to him by his friend in the psychiatric hospital, and that person, which I think was Jimmy, made it for him and gave it to him long
Yeah.
before the train accident. He just had it, and it only activated the green power when he died,
Yeah.
which it still counts. I think it still works.
Mhm.
So it's not that big of a change realistically. It just makes it a bit more personal,
Yeah.
which I think is
No, I
good.
agree.
What are you gluing there, Josh?
My children busted their second Meta Quest headset in
Oh,
1 month.
no!
So they are not buying. I am not buying another one for
How
a
the hell did
while.
they bust it?
Oh, not listening. I've
Well,
got
that
one
was
of the I've got one of the ones with a battery pack.
Yeah, those are good
And
ones.
they're plastic.
Yeah,
They aren't undoing it all the way before they whip it off their head after we've told them 4 times to
I
get off the VR.
uh,
Snap.
lovely.
As far as my opinion goes on Alan Scott,
and the Dad of
it's-
the Year award goes to.
it's hey man, I paid $60 for a strap we didn't need so they could play VR longer. Excuse me, but Alan Scott, well, he's not breaking meta quests, and the art is
Definitely not in
fantastic.
1945.
Definitely not. The art is freaking fantastic in this issue. Number 5 sold me all the way. So much cool shit happens here, including the solidification of the origin for Alan, his power coming from Will. What looks like maybe a Red Lantern version of the JSA. All of it is really fucking cool. Without getting into like every single plot point, that's about all I got to say. It got a 9 out of 10. This shit is amazing.
Yeah, I'm giving this an 8.75 again.
Well, you're wrong. It's 9.
Yeah. No, 8 out of 10 for me. It's just continues to be a solid series. And again, I feel like everything I say, Rob has already said and better. But there's stuff here that I don't feel is, I mean, yeah, some of it is maybe contradicting older versions of, how the Star Heart was formed or anything. But I just appreciate that the series is adding more to Alan's history, being a Green Lantern in the 1940s. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, if there's ever discussion to be had about Alan Scott and retcons, I've been having more than a couple online arguments on the Green Lantern subreddit
Lord.
over the past month about just Alan Scott. I'm fucking ready to go.
What are they even fighting about? Is it just the stuff with the Star Heart?
No, I think people have moved on from that, and now everything's
Oh.
about Alan being gay.
Yeah.
well,
I
Nobody
talked
even
to
mentions the Star Heart anymore. It's not even necessarily that they have an issue with it. They think it's killing the history with which it doesn't.
yeah.
It
Well,
pisses me
I
off.
won't deny that there's some stuff that is kind of weird. Mostly just because Alan was married.
Well, that's
and
100% the argument. But
yeah, which is, well, the thing is, like, not even that he was married in the 40s, but like as of 2011, like when Mark Guggenheim took over the title as the main writer, like was still married to Molly at that point. And then, obviously the New 52 happened and all that went away, and then he came back and there was no mention of it. So I can understand from a continuity standpoint if you're just like, what happened to her? Where did she go? Is she gone? Did she take a vacation? And then Alan was like, oh, by the way,
Has anybody checked the fridge?
I was like, where did she go?
oh,
God, what is that show? Josh, you're probably gonna know this.
God.
This is such a weird reference, but I was imagining like it's the show about the two women whose husbands leave them for each other, Frankie and something.
Oh,
Grace and
Frankie and Grace?
Yeah, yeah,
Grace
yeah,
and
yeah.
Frankie.
I was imagining a situation like that where it's like, Molly went out for groceries and she came back and Alan was like, oh, by the way, I don't want to be with you anymore. So I can understand from that point, but like, I don't know. Comics are just weird like that. You kind of have to accept that there are things that will
that
never
could definitely be a thing, or maybe they just drifted apart.
Yeah.
But like the thing about it is like what's going on with Alan right now is something that has happened to hundreds, if not thousands, of men from that time period
Yeah,
that
yeah.
had to hide who they were, force themselves to get married to a woman, convince themselves that they were attracted to women, had kids, had a happy marriage because that was normal. It was either that or end up in a psychiatric ward, be chemically
Yeah,
castrated.
getting the
Right?
check.
Yeah. So just pushing that side of yourself down and pretending yourself to be normal is 100%
Yeah. Which I think
reality. That's the thing about this. Like, I don't think it really changes anything about his history. It just makes it more realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, it does change part of it to make it more realistic. And
yes,
the sad part is I know people who aren't long time DC comic book readers, and I've actually had a conversation. I won't bring up the name, but I've had a conversation where someone professing to be a comic fan is like, I can't believe they turned Alan Scott gay. I was all about reading this book until I found out that they made him gay in here. He's been gay for a very long time, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know the
that's not
revelation came in 2021, but I don't know. My thing was like, because I remember the same discourse was happening with Tim Drake, and I was like, okay, answer me this, right? What is more egregious to you? A revelation that someone has, let's say, an added element of their sexuality that you didn't know, but their history is still intact. They're still the same person that you knew, or having their entire history wiped and being a completely different person. Because I see far more people complaining about, Tim Drake this, and I don't like Bernard as a character, but I have no problem with, Tim being bisexual or however he wants to define his sexuality. But I have a million more problems with the New 52 completely wiping away his history, because that's far more egregious. That's worse.
Yeah.
That's basically saying, the character that you follow is gone, and we don't care about him. So
That's
my question is, do you care more about the character, or do you care about who they're dating? I don't know. Although I'm not gonna lie, I do prefer Tim with Steph. Shoot me if you will, but I don't have.
No, I honestly think most people do.
Yeah.
They were a good couple. I'm not
Yeah.
even gonna follow you for that. Anything is better than Bernard.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, if they aren't going to be together, and this is the direction that they're going, and obviously it is, I do feel like Steph and Tim should be in a lot more contact, because if they aren't a couple, they still are basically each other's best friend.
Yeah.
No offense to the Junior Trinity, but
agreed.
But yeah, they are for sure.
Yeah.
Best friends. So we should see more of them.
I've said it a million times. Everyone else has been saying it, but I'm like, if you're gonna have Tim date someone, why can't it be Connor? Like, come on, guys. This is so obvious. Let's just run with it. Don't half-ass this shit. Or even
I think they took a hard left turn whenever that was, where they were going to make a whole drastic change to Connor. I don't know if you guys remembered or not, but the introduction to it, which thankfully it never went past that, but where Connor had that streak of red hair.
Oh yeah,
red in his hair. I can't remember exactly what it is, but they were going to turn him. They were going to have him go through some kind of, I can't remember what it is, but some kind of sexually redefining change, all based on his attitude. And I want to say.
It was an Action Comics annual
that was
story.
a backup.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful it didn't happen.
Yeah. Not that we're against Connor changing his sexuality. Just that story was garbage.
It was
Well,
garbage.
It was
His
it was
hair
more
got
just a
dyed out
timing
of
thing too, because it was like you have this 6-issue story of Connor finally finding his place in the universe, and then like what, a week later they have this one where he's like, man, I don't feel like,
Yeah.
fuck everybody. I don't
Fuck
feel like
everybody. I hate
myself.
you
I'm
lost,
tired of
but, like,
having
fit in.
oh,
secrets.
okay.
But you just went.
You just had your soul search, man.
Right?
What
just
happened?
finished it last week.
Not to
Last
mention all
week.
the identity complications he's already got with being
Yeah.
Superman's kid with Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's biological. How?
Oh dear God. So that's
Yeah.
why Lex has the Lexo suit.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, it's a mechanical body condom.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Honestly, my argument for Connor not being straight is my same argument for Alan not being straight. So Connor wears a leather jacket and has an earring. This man is George Michael. And Alan, since his inception, wears a nice pressed red shirt and a purple cape, and you think he's straight?
You got to
very
remember
well
that
put together man.
some of his
Very
costume
likes to
does
dress
look
very
like it's
nice.
made out of velour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that cape is just so choice.
If you don't know what velour is, go find your great grandmother's jumpsuit. That's
Oh,
velour.
Yeah. Or watch any of the classic Star Trek episodes.
There you go.
Or that one episode of Futurama with Zap Brannigan.
Oh my God. No.
That's
want
my
to
go-to every
unsee
time I hear
that.
velour. It's real velour.
I want to unsee that.
There's
Well, the
a
rest
lot
of the
of shit I
champagne-
want to see.
Oh my God. I was quoting that way too much for
Yeah.
way too long.
Hey, Futurama is heavily quotable.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, not even just that line, just champagan. Like if I was ever
Champagan.
referring to it, which was not often, but like if I
Yeah.
was, I would say it like that because why not?
Champagne.
Your next date, would you want some champagne?
Oh God.
All right. Well, our next book, he's also not breaking any meta quests, but his quest sure is meta. It's the
Yeah.
Oh, that was fucking flawless, Rob.
Whoa.
I've been sitting on that for 5 minutes.
Oh my God. Excellent. 5 stars.
10. I gave it a
Oh.
10.
Well, you heard it here, folks. The meta story for this week is none other than the Flash #7, and I suited up in my Flash shirt. This was purely coincidental, but I guess it
Damn, I was hoping it was in solidarity of the issue.
well,
Continue.
that would imply that I liked the issue, but stay
Yeah.
tuned. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't.
Are we on
Literally.
Bizarro World today? Is Josh liking a book Brandon and I don't?
Oh my God.
That would be weird.
That's happened sometimes. That's definitely
Very
happened
rarely, though.
Anyway, Flash #7, written, of course, by Simon Spurrier, with art from Ramon Perez, taking over from Mike Diagiato Jr. Thank God. Colors from Sophie Dodson, and letters from Hassan Atsmain Elhau. We open up this issue in the strange land of Icto, or at least that's what Max Mercury and the rest of the inhabitants referred to it as it's the place in between Tick and Talk. Sure. Where they're being attacked by various members of the Uncoiled, and it seems like their goose is cooked. They're preparing for the worst. They're going to look ahead, but face it bravely, even though it looks like they're all done for. But they get saved at the last minute as the cavalry shows up before porting them out of there. We cut over to Barry Allen, who is checking in with Linda, seeing that she's acting kind of strange considering Wally has been missing for a while now, and Linda seemingly does not care at all. In fact, Linda is so blissed out, you might think she was on drugs, but she's not actually. She's just, blissed out because she wants to hear something in the pipes. And that's when Barry has some kind of revelation, muttering pipes to himself and wondering, could it possibly be connected to But before we get the answer on that, we cut over to I guess the base of the Linear Men, where they're checking in with Max and Impulse respectively, and the Inspector Pilgrim character that we met in issue 5 is basically filling them in on everything that's been going on. But he also reveals that the place, the Speedster Haven, known as Time Point, has also been completely ravaged and turned into the place they now know as Icto, this kind of barren wasteland. Um, but the central question for all of what's going on is who's behind all of this. And of course, Inspector Pilgrim has his theories as to who it is. But before we get into that, we cut back to our friend Barry Allen, who is wreaking havoc over at Holt Industries or Terrific Industries, Terrifitech, um, basically trying to get answers out of Mr. Hartley Rathaway, alias the Pied Piper, who he believes is the one influencing Linda's mind right now. But Holt is basically the one that calms him down using some anti-speedster tech and basically tells him that Piper is not menacing people again and has no part in why Linda is acting so strange. But he also kind of briefs Barry on some of the stuff that's going on, particularly something that he's referred to, or rather, Piper is referred to as the Spectroverse, which are all these different frequencies, layers of existence that are out there, and also tells Barry that Wally has developed new powers to traverse these different layers of reality at the same time. But we cut back over to the base of the Linear Men, where Inspector Pilgrim is still filling them in on everything he's going on, but also reveals that he has a number of these speedsters in captivity, kind of in like these null gravity prisons where they're suspending in air, and is sort of holding them there as he believes they are the ones responsible for some of the kind of perversions going on in the Speed Force right now. And that's when Bart kind of realizes that they were not saved by the Linear Men, but in fact, it was an arrest bringing them here to freeze them with the rest of the speedsters who've been brought in. And while they try and escape, unfortunately, the irony is that as speedsters, they're just not fast enough to escape, and unfortunately are caught by the snare of the Linear Men and are frozen. We cut over to Wally, who is in that strange layer of reality that he's visited a couple of times, referred to as the Gallery, where I forget the strange creature's name, but she kind of checks in on Wally to see if he's okay. And Wally kind of freaks out at some statue that we can't see. And that's when she reveals that he apparently is having some kind of image of what he perceives to be the archangels or archangel. I keep saying archangels. I think my brain instinctively just wants to make them archangels.
Yep.
But that's where our issue ends. What did you guys think of Flash number 7?
I didn't.
Yeah, I figured as much.
Let me go first because mine's a little different than y'all's. I can tell. I think the shit has gotten wild. I'll agree with that with Rob and Brandon, but I really like it. I did say going in that everyone's going to have to be ready for a different kind of Wally story. It's spurrier. It's going to be dark. It's going to be heavy. But I think this is just fantastic. I know I'm alone, but I really like this. It's not a perfect story, but it is a really good one. The art needs some work. I'm not a huge fan, but it is in most places better than what we did have. I didn't hate the whole thing, but I really am. I'm looking forward to next month, and The Flash gets a 7.75 out of 10 for me.
And for you, Robert?
I'd agree. I would normally agree if this was a Wally story. But as far as I know, this ain't fucking Wally. That's not Barry. That's barely Linda. I don't know who
barely
these
Alan?
people are. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Forgive me.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, that I don't know who these people are, but they're not the characters I grew up with and fell in love with over my life. You know, like these these people are new, they're different, they're wild, they're fucked up, and I don't. There's not the Flash. It's not the Flash. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I don't get this book. I understand what Salisbury is trying to do, and for an existential, just like feeling of dread and time travel and reality unfurling, like it's great when it comes to the science of it all, but when it comes to the characters is talking about, completely lost me. So I'm a little conflicted where I like the science of it, but I don't like that as the Flash. Really kills it for me. So I'm gonna give it a 5.
Damn.
Yeah. No,
That
I'm
really surprises me.
I'm kind of in the same camp as Rob. Surprise, surprise, where it feels like for the past 6 issues, like we've just been getting a lot of really interesting, fascinating concepts. And there are moments where I'm like, oh, I kind of like some of the character work, but it just, I don't know, it's such a heavy departure from what we had previously. And I hate to keep bringing up the previous run, but like it's kind of hard
Please
not
do.
to when that run was, it was so cherished by us. And what kind of Flash fan would I be if I didn't, talk about the Flash stories that I loved? So yeah, I like the science concepts. I will admit I do get kind of lost with like the science techno babble where I'm just like, okay, you lost me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I think it makes sense. I can trust it makes sense to someone.
Trust in the Force, Brandon.
Yeah,
As I told you, Speed Force, I ain't gotta explain shit.
So basically, but yeah, I think for me, it's just the characters that are really suffering in this run, particularly Linda. And I know we kind of talked about like how the concept of Linda going through postpartum depression might be why she's been acting so strangely, and I think that's super valid. But like,
and her missing her powers.
Yeah, and her missing her powers, which could also be a metaphor for the postpartum depression. But I don't know. I'm just like,
there's something
like I think that's valuable and that's interesting. But I don't want to read that. Like it sucks and it's sad, and like I liked seeing Linda and Wally and the kids having fun, and this is just like everyone's just fucking mad and angry and sad. And I'm like, I don't want to read this shit. I don't know. Well, I like the.
Tell me how you really feel.
I like the concepts, but I'm like, I don't want to read the characters like this. Like it sucks. I'm like,
like I completely get the if it is postpartum depression with Linda, I completely get that, except for two things. It's one thing for Linda to be that type of character right now, to be going through that struggle, and it's another to have every other character also being like that at the exact same time.
Yeah.
But also, I do feel like there's something a little bit more going on with Linda. It's not just postpartum depression. Like, there's something a bit extra.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe everyone in this book is just infected, and that's why they've been, like, just depresso the whole time.
I 100% believe that something is going to happen with time travel. Stuff's going to get reset, and this is all going to be for naught.
Yes. And then
if
the
that's
book will
the case,
be...
I'm going to be completely pissed.
I want this book to be happy again.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it doesn't for me, it doesn't have to be happy. I would love to see Wally have a solid few arcs where his whole world isn't crumbling around him. But that said, I mean, I feel like it's a good story, and eventually I am going to be able to see Wally happy again. I just got to have faith in that.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree. I think it's a good story. I just don't think the characters are a good part of that story.
Yeah. That's
exactly how I feel. Like if the characters were as they were in Jeremy Adams' run, but it was with these concepts, this book would be an A+ easily.
All right,
it just doesn't work with them being the way they are.
Last point on the Flash. Does anybody have a solid assumption on who it is, or on who Speed Force Raiden is?
It's either Jay or the other kid.
Mm-hmm.
Wade.
Wade.
Yeah.
I'm thinking more so Jay, but I'm definitely getting Wade vibes.
Yeah.
Because Jay was the one that dated Gold Beetle, right?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so
there's the clue right there that Speed Force Raiden was like or the Pilgrim. It's like
Speed
the,
Force Raiden's way cooler.
it is, yeah. The one that blew up there is Gold Beetle, like singled her out specifically and
Yeah.
mentioned how she's important, and also the fact that he mentioned that he was able to jump back and forth along his timeline, and that literally 2 issues ago we saw Jay being able to jump back and forth in time and space very easily,
Yeah.
right? So
Okay, so it's Jay. Mystery
Yeah.
solved there.
yeah.
You heard it here first. I do guess that is it, though, huh?
I think so.
I believe so.
All right, you guys want to hit top 3 and favorite moment then?
All right.
Yeah.
My top 3 is kind of all over the place. Got one from every category.
Oh yeah.
I figured this. I never count anthologies, and Primer is a young adult novel all on its own. But ugh. From the bonus show in third place, I have no choice but to give it to Green Arrow. And second place is from the honorable mentions, Batman Dark Age #1, and then #1, hands down, Alan Scott, the Green Lantern #5.
Nice.
Just awesome. I think my favorite moments are going to be two tiny moments, kind of. When Ivy says Harley's opinion on that she doesn't deserve to be celebrated is fertilizer grade BS. I thought that was a perfect comment for Poison Ivy. It just made me giggle. And then in the Alan Scott issue, when the Crimson Host shows up as that kind of anti-JSA deal, he says, "Are you fucking kidding me with this shit?" that made me giggle too.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good, but that's my top 3 and favorite.
Nice. No, for me, at #3, I have Harley Quinn. Oh, sorry, no. At #3, I have Detective Comics 1083. #2, I have Harley Quinn #38. #1, I'm sure will not be surprised. Green Arrow #10. We'll get into it, but this was a book that I have been waiting for a while. I was very pleased with it. But my favorite moment has to be, like, it could be from no other story from this week than the backup in Harley. Particularly the moment where she's standing over the pit and pulls out the sign. It says "On Nerds," and then the whatever creature that is comes up and tries to snap. It looks like Killer Croc. I think it's Killer Croc. It just honestly, the whole. I wish I could just nominate the whole backup as my honorable mention, because like it's just one continuously great moment. But anyway,
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
For me, I have Harley Quinn 38 at #3, Green Arrow #10 at #2, and Alan Scott, the Green Lantern #5 at #1. Well, my favorite moment's going to be when Alan goes into the battery and has a conversation with the Emerald Flame. Thought that was really cool.
That was cool as shit. That's the first time we've seen that personified, right?
I think so.
Okay, I thought so too. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then I guess with that is it. We have wrapped up. Thank you everybody for watching. We will be back next week covering all of DC's weekly releases. Same geek time, same geek channel. So that is the show. We are getting out of here, so you have to as well. Be careful out there, and remember, in the Geek Matrix, everybody has a home. In the Geek Matrix, you are not alone. Finger guns.
Yeah. All right.